What's going on, guys? Tyler here from TJ Cards, and welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to make a video around our 2021 football draft picks. So in this video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking our first round offensive draft picks and ranking their cards from worst to best to collect this upcoming season. This video is totally personal opinion. You may or may not agree, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. So before we get started, make sure you go down to that comment section, let me know, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. And again, our like streak is going good. I gave away our first level 1 mystery pack in last night's stream. If you missed it, make sure to tune in to see if you won. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on this list, guys. Some of these may or may not surprise you. And so what I've done is I put a filler card, and I am going to be going from worst to best in this draft class. There were 12 offensive first round draft picks. And so at number 12, I have Cadarius Tony, who is going to the New York Giants. Now, Cadarius Tony, the reason I have him dead last in our first round offensive draft picks is because he's the 4th wide receiver on the Giants. And, you know, he's behind Galladay, he's behind Shepard, Slayton, and he's behind Evan Ingram at tight end as well. And to kick it all off, they got Daniel Jones throwing to them. So I don't know. The Cadarius Tony, I don't think is going to be a starting rotation player until maybe halfway to 3/4 through the season, or if one of them, the primaries, get injured. And even if, I think they're going to be throwing to Evan Ingram as well. So I think the chances that Cadarius Tony has high stock this season is pretty low, which is the entire reason I put him down at number 12. At number 11, I have Travis Etienne from Clemson going to the Jaguars. Now, the reason I have him at number 11, he is a running back, and he's going to join his former quarterback, Trevor Lawrence from Clemson, to the Jaguars. Well, on the Jags, you know, we have James Robinson, and he's going to be sharing that backfield with him. Now, I know the Jaguars said that Etienne's going to be the starting running back, but you can't deny how great of a season James Robinson had last year. And with that being said, I don't think it's going to be a full, you know, 70-30 split or 3 down, 1 down type situation. I think James Robinson is still going to be heavily involved in the backfield. And if that happens, then Etienne's not really going to have that great of a season in terms of carries, unless, of course, James Robinson gets injured again. And on top of that, I think Trevor Lawrence is more likely to throw the ball than to run the ball. I think the Jaguars will likely have a throw-heavy offense, and with the run as supplemental offensive play. So at number 11, Travis Etienne. Number 10, Kyle Pitts. This was one of my favorite cards that we actually pulled in our break last night. I think it might be my favorite card that we pulled from the break last night. This Kyle Pitts, Origins, number to 10. Beautiful card. Anyways, so Kyle Pitts, I have him at number 10 because in Atlanta there is room, well, not just in Atlanta, but in the NFL in general, there's room for a monster tight end position once again. And I think, you know, right now you have Travis Kelce completely dominating the game at the tight end position. Now, obviously you have other tight ends in the game as well, that, you know, like George Kittle, for example, that are also up there as well. But I think Kyle Pitts, and the way that the Falcons offensive is, that he has a really high chance to be a heavy hitter for the Falcons offense. And if that happens, you know, he's going to be one of the most sought after players of this year. So yeah, I have Kyle Pitts at number 10. I think he's going to be a great tight end this season. I think he's going to do great things for the Falcons. But the only reason I have him at 10 and not any higher is because he does have to share that position with Hayden Hurst, who is also a great tight end. Now, last season, he didn't really have a great season, but I think, you know, that's going to likely hurt his stock. He's not going to get all of the throws from Matt Ryan over there in Atlanta. So here, yeah, number 10. At number 9, we're going to Jalen Waddle, who will be going to join his quarterback in Miami. So Jalen Waddle, I have him pretty high, or I guess not pretty high. He's probably one of the lower wide receivers on this list, but I have him there because he's got a position share with Will Fuller, who's a great wide receiver. Now, with that being said, obviously Jalen Waddle has a really good chance to have a high stock early in the season while Will Fuller is suspended, I think for the first 3 games. But when he comes back, I think Will Fuller is going to be way more involved. And obviously I also have Devonta Parker as a wide receiver there on the Dolphins as well. So With that said, I think Jalen Waddle is going to be coming in at the beginning of the season at the number 2 wide receiver for the team. And then once Will Fuller comes back, number 3. But early season, Jalen Waddle will be a high stock wide receiver. But as the season goes on, I think he's going to end up being targeted less. Unless, of course, he has a breakout. But just to be safe, I have Jalen Waddle at, what was that? Number 12, 11, 10, at number 9. Number 8. Heisman winner, Devonta Smith, who will be going to play with Jalen Hurts on the Eagles. Devonta Smith, I have him kind of middle of the pack for the wide receivers. Depth on the team shows that he's going to get a good amount of action there at wide receiver. He's really only competing with Jalen Reagor for the wide receiver 1. So I have him pretty high, but I also kind of pulled back a little bit because Jalen Hurts didn't really display a whole lot of potential as a top quarterback. He's very middle of the road. At least that's what he showed last season. So I think Devonta Smith's stock completely depends on Jalen Hurts actually getting the ball to him, which is why I put him in the middle of the pack. Not because of Devonta Smith's talent. If Devonta Smith went to, say, a Patrick Mahomes and he was the wide receiver 1 on the team, Devonta Smith would probably also be wide receiver 1 for the league, in my opinion. But he's not, so I have him here middle of the pack for the incoming rookies. Number 7. This one might be a little bit surprising, but I have Rashad Bateman at number 7. So the reasoning that I have Rashad Bateman here at number 7 for the Ravens is that he is going to be starting at wide receiver 1 for the Ravens. There's also already been talk that he's going to be taking over Hollywood Brown's position as the wide receiver 1. Now, the only thing that hurts his stock really here is that we're talking about the Ravens. We're talking about Lamar Jackson, and he likes to run the ball a lot. So getting the ball to Rashad Bateman is, essential for him to have a high stock. But I do think that they're going to involve him a lot in the offensive gameplay. He has a great after the catch speed. So yeah, Rashad Bateman here, he's got speed on the ground, so I can see some short passes. I can also see some long passes going for him. So we'll see what happens. I have him a little bit higher than Devonta Smith, but not the top wide receiver. At number 6, and I think this is our highest wide receiver on the list, I have the one and the only Ja'Marr Chase from LSU. So I know I'm a little bit biased coming from graduating at LSU, but the reasoning that I have Ja'Marr Chase as the top wide receiver of this first round draft as the highest stock, and I think his cards will be the most valuable, is because you look at Justin Jefferson. He came from the LSU championship team. So did Ja'Marr Chase. So did Joe Burrow. Justin Jefferson did amazing things in last year. He was the number 1 wide receiver for the season. So in my opinion, with Ja'Marr Chase rejoining Joe Burrow, all 3 of them coming from the championship team, I think Ja'Marr Chase stands a really good chance at being a top wide receiver contender for the season, not just for all rookies, but for everybody on the season. I think Ja'Marr Chase and Joe Burrow are going to have an absolutely monster year. I think Burrow's coming back with a vengeance. And like I said, I am biased. So maybe that's why you guys might not agree, but I think Ja'Marr Chase is going to have an insane season on par or better with Justin Jefferson's season last year. All right, so now we're moving outside. That was our last wide receiver. Here at number 5, I have Naji Harris, running back, going to the Steelers. So Naji Harris, I think, is going to be great this season. I'm equivalating him to Jonathan Taylor in a way as like the top rookie running back. Reason being, he's on the Steelers. He's got the Steelers backfield to himself now. The Steelers have already said that they need to start running the ball a lot more. They're very powerful when it comes to the wide receiver core. So I think Naji Harris is an amazing addition to the Steelers. I really do think the Steelers are going to be a top contender in this upcoming season. They're dangerous at wide receiver. They're going to be dangerous at running back. I think Naji Harris was an amazing addition to the team. So I'm excited to see what he can do this season. And now, with no surprise, my top 4 are the 4 quarterbacks that were drafted. And so, yeah, here we go. At number 4, I have Justin Fields going to the Bears. Beautiful auto pulled in last night's break, by the way, out of 75. So Justin Fields, I have him at number 4 because he's not starting the season. Andy Dalton is the Bears starter as of now. Now, I don't think that's going to last very long. I do think that Justin Fields is going to take over that job at some point. I don't really know when that'll be. But, you know, I do think that Justin Fields is going to be a good quarterback. I just don't think he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks. I'm equivalating this season for him. I don't really know where he's going to stand, but if I had to guess, probably somewhere around quarterback 13 on the season. I think he's going to take over Andy Dalton's job fairly early on, probably by game 3 if I had to guess. Andy Dalton's really not that great, and I'm not sure why the Bears are starting him over Justin Fields. But, you know, I do think Justin Fields will take over. It's going to be like a Jalen Hurts situation where he takes over, you know, midway through the season and starts doing decent, but not really, you know, that great that like we would expect Justin Fields to do. At number 3, I have Trey Lance, 49ers quarterback. Reason I have him at number 3, he is the starting quarterback for the 49ers. I do think the 49ers are going to be a decent team this season, though. I don't think that Ayuk's going to get as much of a share of the throws, and I think they're going to be heavily involved in the running game this year. So, and for that reason, I brought Trey Lance's stock down just slightly past our 1 and 2 picks here. But overall, number 3 on the season. I don't really have any reason to move him lower, so that's why I kept him a little bit higher than Justin Fields. At number 2, Mack Jones. Now, this might be a little bit surprising of why I didn't put Trey Lance over Mack Jones, because Mack Jones is also like Justin Fields, not starting the season. So over in New England, obviously you have Cam Newton starting at quarterback there, but I think that Cam Newton is going to be a very, you know, 3-game situation, much like Justin Fields, where Mack Jones is going to end up taking over early on to midway through the season. But what I think about Mack Jones and why I have him ranked so much higher is that the type of quarterback that he is very New England. It's very, very New England. And he fits the bill for your standard New England quarterback. Looking at Tom Brady, you know, he's very Tom Brady-esque, right? So I think that this is a good addition to New England. This card numbered to 100 out of Legacy. I think he's a great addition to New England. I think he's going to be the 2nd highest quarterback of the season. And yeah, that's why I have him at number 2. Now, with no surprise, our number 1 here is the 1st-round draft pick this year of Trevor Lawrence. Now, this is where I'm a little shaky because I don't think that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the best rookie quarterback this season. I think it has a good chance to be Mack Jones or Trey Lance over Trevor Lawrence, or even a 2nd-round pick or another quarterback that was drafted later in the class that maybe takes over because of an injury. But Trevor Lawrence, I have him at number 1 because his stock right now is insanely high. But I think it's going to decline shortly after the season starts because I don't envision the Jaguars winning a lot. I envision them to do better than they did last season, but I don't envision them winning a lot. And with them not winning, his stock's not going to go up until if he has a season like Justin Herbert winning Rookie of the Year. That's really the only way that I see his stock going insanely high. But I have him at number 1 because he is the number 1 draft pick. For now, his stock is going to be crazy high. It's not going to start declining until about halfway through the season. So that's why I have him at number 1. So obviously with that list, that is my worst to best cards to collect for the season. I do think that obviously quarterbacks are going to have the greatest value no matter how good a wide receiver does or how good a running back does. For example, Jonathan Taylor being an insane running back with an extremely high stock still doesn't have a greater value than Joe Burrow, who only played, 3/4 of the season. With that said, I think that, the quarterbacks are going to have insanely high stock no matter what. They're your go-to people to collect. You just got to try to envision who's going to be the better quarterback throughout the year. Now, obviously, it's worth it to kind of sit on all of these cards. Maybe not so much the college uniform cards. These are just the ones that I had here in front of me to kind of display for the video. But, once pro uniforms come out, collecting these players in their pro uniforms will likely be a great investment for the future. Now, obviously, some of them are going to bust and some of them are going to exceed our expectations. And it's no telling who that's going to be until the football season starts. I hope this list helped you guys. If it did, make sure to go down to that section below and smash that like button for me, guys, and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Do you think my rankings are just wild and all over the place? It's all speculation at this point, guys, and personal opinion. So make sure to let me know what you guys think. That's going to wrap it up for this one, guys. Thanks for tuning into today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.